All right, let's begin with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the June 10th Marion County Commission meeting. We have several people here in the room. Anyone wish to make public comment? No? Okay. Several online. Anyone online wish to make public comments? Okay, not seeing any. We'll move into agenda approval. Any additions to the agenda?
Maybe under comments. Yeah,
Okay, under comments. All right, the agenda stands approved. We'll move into administrative. We have Tom here. Do we want to?
Yep, I think let's start first.
Let's start with that.
Okay. Stan Williams from Williams Service notified me late Thursday, Friday morning that he had 2 trucks ordered for a county and they backed out on one. His build day is July 28th. He wanted to know if we were interested. If not, they'll take it off the books.
It's for a dump truck.
Yeah, big rock truck.
What all does the specs meet? I mean,
It's spec'd out like a state truck.
but don't you want, do you still want the backs to where it backs up to the anything and hooks on, or do you want
No.
that, you don't want that anymore?
No,
Okay.
not this one. Well, it'll hook up to the chip spreader.
It will?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is just a cabin chassis. It's not the bed or nothing.
Oh, okay,
It's just the cabin and chassis. We'll
Okay.
order the bed and that's when the snow plow,
okay.
all that gets added on.
Transmission and engine.
The transmission
It's
is
the right, the
automatic,
right kind.
an Allison automatic. We've never had one. There's pros and cons to them.
The Allison?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good transmission,
A lot of guys say they're more and more all the time.
especially the newer ones.
That would be, the one thing I've never spec'd in a truck is an Allison automatic. Maybe it's time to give it a try.
10-speed,
6 speeds,
6-speed.
Allisons are all
I got 10-speed Allison.
in your pickup.
I just
I think
assumed that they were
the big
moving.
ones are still like a 6-speed.
That shifting is amazing. You don't feel it at all.
The price is $125, $475. My beds that I've just kind of talked to the guys, randomly speaking, we're probably looking at 50, maybe up to 60,000 to put a bed on, hydraulics, everything we need.
We're just adding to and not replacing.
Well, we should replace, yeah, I got someone I'd like to get rid of.
Hard to get rid of them though before you have one to replace it.
Right.
You can't use the old bed, you know,
Yeah,
put a new bed on.
they're all rusted up.
We got
They
anything,
wouldn't survive another truck.
got anything to get rid of?
Well, we'll have some more dump trucks to get rid of. Once we get this one in place, we can get rid of 1 or 2.
And I don't know if you remember, but during our budget discussion, we've talked about we needed to buy 2 dump trucks. And I think that our rock trucks, at least one of them's broke down right now, isn't it? Or has been having issues, or both of them are. So he's been getting prices, this is within the basic price of what we would be buying. It's just the timing. If we order it now and take this one, we'll get it a lot sooner than we would if
Well,
we had to
we'll
wait.
be up and running a lot quicker.
Right. So that's
They
the,
say the beds are, once we receive the bid on the bed, they're looking at 90 to 100 days out on a bed, truck bed.
The last one we bought was last year. It was 180.
Well, we bought a used
Buy a
one.
used one.
We got that used Mac.
180,000, I think is what we get for it.
that seems right, Jonah.
Remember?
Right in that neighborhood.
Having a
So what's the wait time to order one?
5-minute discussion on it.
If we was to respec our own, go out for bids, we're probably looking, we wouldn't see one till after the first year, probably, right after. Maybe the end of the year, but probably after the first.
How many trucks over 600,000 have you got in your fleet?
3 of them.
3 of them's over 600,000.
And you probably don't have that mileages, that sheet, do you?
Let me look for it.
But I think,
I've been requesting the list of all equipment and mileage, but I don't have them all.
the
So
last two new ones are 280, like be 182 or 183.
let me see if I can find it real quick.
But the point is, there's several of them that are
Well,
done.
and the way things are built today, things don't.
So what I have, it has the vehicle number, but not, but I'm pretty sure he sent me a list with, oh yeah. I didn't know what that equipment was, cause he just gave me.
182 or 183.
Yeah, so,
One's 260 and 280, I think.
okay.
So,
So we have a 2019, I'm not quite sure, that's
That's
not right.
179, I think.
I've got vehicle number 29, which is,
Oh, that's old.
okay, I can't tell what year that's supposed to be. It's not a right year. It says 2091, and I'm sure that's not right. Maybe it's a 1991. I don't know. 463,000 miles on that one.
Had to be rolled over for Y2K. Make sure it didn't trip the system.
There's a 2004 with a distributor. It says 83,565. And let me see, a 2002 with 641,000 miles on it.
These are pickups.
No, dump truck.
Trucks.
Let's see,
Pretty good on pickup.
2006 with 90,000, just over. 2000.
170 or
There's
170.
another 173 is a 2006 with 571,000 miles on
The
it.
other one with 90,000, that odometer's got loused up. It's gonna be even with the other one.
Oh, okay. And we have a 2011 with 135,000 miles on it. And then the 2018s that have about 282 and 260. And then there's a 2021 Mack heavy dump truck.
Yeah.
Is that red one?
That's the real one
99,976.
So,
99,000 is all it has on it?
That 2021?
Yeah, it was pretty low when we bought it.
so what you found for us is truck and chassis, 125. You
Yeah.
can add the bed and equip it, ballpark 180,000 total, which comes in about the same price as what you used one for 2 years ago. So, and it sounds like a good piece of equipment that you think will work well for the county.
I could say that, but.
Well, and the timing, I mean, the timing is an issue too.
Right.
You're speeding up the calendar almost six months. Other questions for Tom?
How many dump trucks do we need for rebuilds and snow removal?
We'd have 5 running all the time if
For rebuild?
one of the 2 was running.
But I mean, excluding just, new gravel being
Well, we need at least 5 for the chip spreader to keep up,
5.
depending upon where the stockpile's at.
What about snow removal? Need more.
What?
Snow removal, based on
Yeah.
this winter we had,
Yeah, and how many of them?
how many?
3 broke.
Snow removal, you broke 3 trucks.
For a while.
But that one's okay, right?
Yeah.
You know, I was just curious because we've contracted quite a bit, and do we need to be contracting more even though we need to have a certain amount of trucks just for rebuild and snow removal?
Yeah, I mean, like now, I do believe 3 or 4 of them are blade patching. Depending upon, getting how close they are to the stockpile. I think mostly 3's we've been using blade patching.
So back to the budget, we were planning to budget for it for next year, is that right?
Yes.
So this would be accelerating into,
It would. We do have a I'm not exactly sure, but $300,000 line item in special equipment for this year for equipment purchases. So it would be within our
We have it,
budget for the current year,
it is available.
yes,
It doesn't delete that budget line.
right.
Other thoughts?
180,000, I was trying to think of what those maps come in at up at commission show. I think they was like over 200, I think, for the even tandem axle without, no, that was over that, but they did have the snow spreader and the plow and the spreader both. So
So
that's,
they were-
I can't
they were
compare,
complete.
I can't compare it.
They were complete units, ready
Yes.
to roll.
Yeah.
They were max,
I think.
I feel we need to
or the Kenworth.
keep our equipment up, because every time you break something down, somebody is not able to work.
Right.
And we lose production time, and
One thing,
it would be a good thing.
like I said, I've normally never have ordered one with an automatic transmission, but
It's coming.
it's getting to be where, you know, that, like you said, if the guy's gone, we can put somebody else in it. And we don't have to have a guy that can shift gears. I mean, not.
Yeah.
Every truck's different. I'll get in each one, I'll grind, I guarantee it. Give me a wallet, it gets better.
But if it's an automatic dumping and running and dumping, was this, of course, you said it was ordered for a county.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Municipalities, the state runs all automatics now.
right, but what I'm getting at is whether they run and buy it and then stockpile in a stockpile, this truck don't run and dump on the roads. That's what my question is somebody needs to know whether an automatic works good out there running and dumping. And
Depends on the driver,
You mean like trying to keep a steady speed?
to spread it on the road.
You can manually shift it and
oh, okay.
you can go into
Okay.
Easier.
manual or
Okay.
automatic.
Or
Easier.
you click your automatic down in the manual and you pop the
Right, you
button.
pop the button and stay in one
Okay.
gear.
But that's a good question
It's not
though.
always a perfect solution, but it does work.
Yeah.
Especially on D cells.
One's not too slow and one's too fast.
Yeah. I'm just seeing another county ordered it for something. We don't know what they ordered it for. I just,
Dump trucks.
Right, but
they set them up different, Tom.
Right.
Did they back out because, what he's getting at, did they back out because they didn't like the automatic
Something to that
or
effect.
something?
Well, they ordered two and they did one, and I think I know after I went to a truck bed show here recently, that's where the county bought their beds, and they also sell Kenworths already set up, ready to go, and I
Okay.
think we're waiting on these, and they're like, I think there was some talking.
About the show model.
Well, they want,
The pieces of the puzzle that I put together.
they needed more of a turnkey. They needed more of an immediate
Well,
fix.
for some reason, they changed their mind.
Either better price or something, changed their mind. Okay.
I mean, it's there if we want to, or if we wanna wait.
I will tell you that we have ordered lots of trucks through Williams, and it's always been a good deal. I mean, no major problems.
So is it an international? I think,
It's international.
engine is an international or is it a Duramax?
No, it's not Duramax.
Okay.
I think it's a little cooler,
Or nothing.
like an L9 Cummins.
Cummins, okay.
I will say one thing in Stan's behalf, he has been really good about when I have an issue of getting him in.
That's important.
He's been, like the old distributor, the air conditioner quit. He got done Friday afternoon, they checked it, fixed it, done. I mean, it was a simple fix, but I just said run it by, have him glance at it, plug into it with their laptop. And that, I mean, he's been,
You get to go to the front of the line each time.
well, he kinda works us in pretty fast,
There has been some issues with some of them. The yellow truck that goes down the road for the trash truck, it's been in and out of the shop quite a few times on different things. And, it's just maintenance wise, that maybe just didn't click. But, I think they always got it in, like you said, got it fixed. Then there was a dump truck didn't the dump truck used to, one of them, the last ones that we ordered, jump out of gear? It was jumping out of gear for whoever the driver was quite a bit. I don't know if they fixed that. It's been about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it has.
Too much water under the bridge, huh?
That's.
So, but other than that, they've always been good to us.
Any other questions? If not, Tom, it seems like you found a good opportunity for us, a good piece of equipment, and also moving us up on the timeline. So I would move to proceed with the purchase of the truck and chassis, $125,475. And that was from Williams. And to come out of special equipment.
We didn't discuss financing, did we?
What, you want to finance it?
We got cash.
Okay, I'm just asking.
You can always do a lease purchase on them.
Well,
Pay the 7, 8, 9%.
is that what it is?
I would, you know, if we have a money available, my thought is we better use it.
After an
I
election.
mean, we don't know going down the road, those rates are gonna continue to go up or go down. They're doing nothing basically right now, but they're high.
Second.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Did that truck over?
Okay,
You get to pick the color.
what's that?
You get to pick the color.
It's white.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You were talking about getting a wheeled excavator at one point?
I thought, yeah, I think for side trim and hedge would be awesome.
Yeah. And that you can get an attachment that, I just seen one down in Sedgwick County, it's the neatest thing. And they got this,
Gas filler?
no, I don't, maybe, it was yellow,
Okay.
but it was they had a mower deck on it. And so they were able to mow them super steep ditches and just ride it along the road and just mow it. Neat, and I just thought,
But it would look like an excavator on tires.
so. So, I mean, just seeing that attachment, all of a sudden it was like, well, I hope we're moving forward with something like that.
Keep an eye out.
I know the railroad uses them.
Yeah.
You see them there on the railroad tracks, they've got them. It's
Lots
just a
of
small.
versatility.
Well, and then just to scoop out ditches and drive along the road,
Such a nice looking job when they're done.
so.
From the floods we've just had and all the debris.
And you got a lot of better reach than we do with just a boom tractor.
Just seen an application in use and I was like, I hope there's an attachment that can fit this, that you're looking for, that
Well, yeah,
does that.
yeah, I'm sure that, like I said, that's all the railroad does is side trim their hedge along the tracks with what I've seen. That's where I seen it.
Nice.
Okay, anything else for Tom? All right, thank you for bringing this to us.
Thank you for your time.
It's gonna be a hot week.
Air conditioning for the shop?
All right, let's move back to administrative. Ashley?
I have the minutes of June 3rd.
Commission's had a chance to review. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gehring. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Becker. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Okay, next I have some early checks.
Okay.
We do have one invoice that was to Elcon in the amount of $9,735. I apologize, it was not in the
I just got that, I didn't.
packet. And I do have the invoice if anybody wants to look at it.
Anyone want to see the invoice? If not, is there a motion to approve the Elcon invoice in the amount of, I'm sorry, what was the amount again?
$9,735.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
What
Commissioner
was it
Cooper.
for?
It was the election room.
Yeah, I saw that.
Work at the courthouse.
Would you like to see the invoice?
No, it's on here.
Okay.
Yeah, 9,735.
Okay, good. So I don't want to rush it, just make sure, any other questions? Let's see, we had a motion from Commissioner Crowfoot. Do we have a second? Okay, so second by Commissioner Dalkey.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 4 in favor, 1 abstain.
Okay, and so then the total amount for payday or early checks is $33,448.90.
Any questions on these? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Becker, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dahlke. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
How's your budget coming for your election?
I've not ran it.
Are you talking specifically about the project or?
Yeah, the project, yeah.
Oh, I do have numbers for that.
When we got that in there, and just wondered where we're sitting on budget.
So we have all the invoices in, unless if something happens to come up, but when we had the bids, the total bid amount was $56,939 and we are at $50,760.
Thank you.
And as of right now, $36,000 will be reimbursed by the grant. There might be additional funds available that other counties didn't use, and if that happens, we may be able to get more.
All right, next.
And that is all I have.
Okay, so there's a lot, that lot that is north of our building at 1240 Commercial. I did attend the city meeting. They're willing to accept, and they voted to accept if offered the $1,000, which is the valuation that the appraiser has on that lot. And so if you're ready to move forward with that, I just need a motion and a vote to purchase that lot for $1,000.
Purchase the lot behind 1230 commercial.
We have a motion from Commissioner Garing, purchase the lot behind 1240 Commercial for $1,000. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
By Commissioner Crowfoot. Questions and discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Motion carried 5-0.
If there are closing costs involved, is the county willing to pick up the closing costs?
Yes.
And one thing that I just remembered is we probably need to have another discussion about property acquisition in executive session sometime soon. If we have time today, that's great.
Okay.
The next item that I have would be the approval of the bridge contractor, the award for the bridge that you opened bids for last week. And the engineer on the project said he's worked with all 3 companies and he would recommend accepting the low bid, which would be Norfolk. And that bid was $219,736.
What was the name of the company again?
Norfolk, and Norfolk contracting.
So move that we take the engineer's recommendation and use Norfolk Contracting for in the amount of $219,736.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Garing. Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Becker. Questions or discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
And you might remember that local bridge improvement program that this is under. We received the grant funding for this. It's a 90-10 split with the county paying 10%. But there is a requirement that we close another bridge, which is a fracture critical bridge. And so that bridge that we are looking to close, just to remind you, because this has already been discussed, but it is on Old Mill between 260th and 270th. And so the hearing for that is going to be on July 8th here at 1 o'clock here in Commission Chambers. And I can give you all a map later, but it would be good for you all to take a look at that bridge before that hearing.
Very good.
I think it's right north of Edvin Duskus, right?
It's around there, yes.
It's a dead end road anyway.
There's a couple bridges on that section, and it is actually the one on the north that would be closed. The one on the south would stay
But they
open.
still have field access.
Right.
Probably not the right time this week to go right now, is there? I mean,
No.
That's
It's probably a little
Go
muddy.
down there now.
That was right in the
Probably-
bullseye, so
We had like 7 inches, so.
Yeah.
And then just another little update, on the fracture critical bridges. I asked John, how many we have left. And so we have, after this particular one that's gonna be closed. Let's see. Oh, wait, excuse me. We have 2 more after we replace, because the one that we're getting ready to replace on this program is a fracture critical one. And then, so there are 2 more. Bridge number 20, which is on 340th between Holly and Indigo, and bridge number 70, which is west of Eagle on 230th. So, just so you're aware of that, we have 2 more fracture critical. And let's see.
We have to do yearly checks on those fractured critical. So,
Yes.
The one at 230th at Eagle. We just closed the other one on Eagle. Gotta be more careful. Only locking places out.
locking somebody up.
Yeah, so those may be ones that we end up having to replace, but that's just the 2 that are left on our list, right?
And I think
That's
the other
right.
one can probably be closed. So most likely, when we get to that point, that one can stay open and we can close the other, and then.
I'm not saying the other one can be can't be closed. I'm just saying we
Right.
just closed one right by it.
Right. But we will investigate that when the time comes. Thanks for that update.
You're welcome. Fireworks schedule, I think I put a calendar of what we did last year in your packet. We had hours from June 27th through July 5th last year, which was,
Was it Sunday? Or was it?
I didn't put what it was last year, I put what it is this year.
Friday.
So, yeah, July 5th is a Friday this year. Also want to mention Ramona is wanting to have their fireworks on Saturday, July 6th. So I didn't know if you wanted to make a change to your schedule of what you're allowing, or if you would like them to apply for a special permit to do that. So,
I think they would get a special permit
Yeah, because otherwise we're gonna end up,
and fireworks over the weekend.
we'll have the fire department in here too. Wondering why we didn't consult with them.
We've never let them, they've never gone past the 5th on sales.
okay, so what hours would you like to do for sales?
I just wrote down, I didn't look at the list here below. I see you got it there now, just compare and see where I was at, but, I don't know what those dates were last year on Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't write last year's days of the weeks, but
Yeah.
this year, the 27th of June is on a Thursday.
Right, I got 27th Thursday at 10 PM, both of them shuts down, 28th on Friday. That Friday, Saturday, and on that weekend before the 4th, I just put midnight for Friday and midnight for Saturday. Sunday is 10 PM, Monday's 11, Tuesday's 11, Wednesday it goes back to midnight, and Thursday the 4th, midnight. I didn't even do the 5th, so, but that'd be, go back to 10 probably, that'd be on the weekend, so, no, Friday'd be the 5th. So, they can go to midnight.
Sunday you went to the 10 o'clock?
Yeah,
What day's Sunday?
That's
The
the 30th.
June 30.
30th.
I'm good with that day for sure. Because that's what I think we did on the,
What did you do on Monday the 1st?
11, Tuesday 11. That's a work day, Monday and Tuesday, they're coming into the 4th weekend, so if you wanna drop back 10 there, well, you could do that too. So, but that's just a suggestion.
We need to do either all 10s or 11s to the 1st. I mean, just can't be jumping back and forth.
Why?
Well, people won't remember which is which.
you're right.
They get in their mind
I'm just doing Saturday, Friday, Saturdays,
to help law
Fridays
enforcement.
and Saturdays late, And Mondays, the rest of the week, if you wanna go to 11, except for the 10th, or the Sunday, why? I've always heard about Sundays.
I said July 2nd to the July 5th.
Yeah, that's the only one. The Sunday was bring it back to 10, and then every other day I was out
11?
11 midnight, whatever.
Okay.
Got a proposal?
Yeah, I'd go June 30th, 8 to 10, and all the rest of the days 8 to midnight.
Including the 5th? Doesn't matter.
It's a Friday night.
Most of them are tore down by then.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yep, there'll still be camping and shooting fireworks.
They'll be shooting fireworks the 5th this year.
But what about-
Friday night.
Okay, so you didn't include the 27th through the 29th. What would your proposal be on
Well,
that?
I said midnight on all the rest. I just was
Okay.
concerned about Sunday being cut back. Just trying to be mindful of previous years.
So midnight on everything except for
The 30th.
the 30th.
I know that muddies some things up, but
It's easy to remember.
Sunday you gotta, well, I mean, they do it on alcohol sales, they do it on everything else, they cut it back early, so.
Which day's Sunday?
Sunday is the 30th.
Alcohol sales go with
Yeah,
fireworks.
Sunday is the 30th.
No, that would be 8 p.m.
And are you opening, are your hours proposed at 8 AM or 9 AM?
I figured 8 a.m.
Well, if you're
realtors can-
recognizing Sunday, why don't you just open at 12 o'clock?
Sunday.
On Sunday.
You could.
Well, it's really what we're doing is anybody that's selling fireworks, they can choose. I mean,
Well, yeah, but I mean, they just have to stay within the
This
parameters.
is the only time you can shoot fireworks in the county between these times.
and sales, but the sales is really up to the
We don't
sales.
worry about the sales, we worry about shooting.
I mean, if you're gonna recognize Sunday, the faith community would probably say open at 12 o'clock. We don't want fireworks going off during church.
You don't sell too much.
Well,
It wouldn't hurt a thing. Wouldn't hurt a thing.
I mean, that's just being, giving a recognition and
Respectful.
Commissioner Garing, you were in the process of making a motion, I believe.
Yeah, I was 8 a.m. to midnight on all days except for the 30th. The 30th was 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Garing, second by Commissioner Dalkey. Discussion?
you vote on it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
They-
Motion carried, 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Commissioner Becker.
We did the alcohol sales the same way, but everybody sells alcohol. Still chose to open up at noon. They chose to do what they wanted to do.
Okay, any other highly controversial issues for us tonight?
Sorry about that. No, I did put my administrative report in the packet. Anybody have questions?
Another busy week. Any questions for Tina? All right, thank you. All right, does Isaac happen to be in? All right. Isaac? Hey. Another busy weekend? Wet weekend?
It's wet. Yeah. It's a lot of cleanup to do,
A lot of cleanup.
but hey, we got water, so
There you
I'm not
go.
gonna complain too much.
Shouldn't be blue-green algae for,
Exactly right.
Hopefully it washed it all straight on down.
Out the back. It's running. It finally
Still on the
quit.
bottom of the
I know. But you can still wish. You can still hope.
all right, what do you have for us?
Okay, so I was just wanting to come in and talk to the commission. Kind of want to let you know and to try to see if you guys had any opinions or were okay with us putting on our fireworks show out at the lake. I'm looking at Friday, July the 5th. Right now, I don't know. Do you guys just decide on the schedule?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let you do it.
All right.
Yeah, until midnight.
On Friday is the cutoff, okay. Well, and that was it, and I've talked to the company just to try to see if I didn't know what we were gonna do as far as a contract goes for a date, and I just wanted to see if the 5th would work. So kind of get this in the works and get everything rolling. I've talked to Sharon, I need to go get a special event permit from her, and get that filled out and turned in. I needed a date for that, but yeah, the 5th is kind of what we were thinking. I know Peabody's doing theirs on the 4th, I think Ramona's also doing theirs on the 4th.
Ramona, I got a communication from them that they may be doing theirs on the 6th.
On the 6th, okay. And I just, wanted to see if there were any issues or problems with us doing that.
Anyone have any concerns?
It's commercial, so it needs a special
Been doing it
permit
for
anyway, so.
several years already.
I see consensus to support.
Okay.
You're within the time limits and everything, so.
Yeah, they say at dark. I think last year they started a little later than they hoped to because it rained that afternoon, so they had to cover everything back up after they had it set up. Normally it's like 9:45, 10 o'clock when they start, and it normally is 20-25 minutes and then it's over. So, it should be done before midnight. And that was all I had, unless you guys had any questions or.
It'll make you have a bad Saturday. After saying
Yeah, right,
can't shoot
well-
fireworks today.
That's the thing about 4th of July, and it's the same with us as far as busyness goes. It all depends on what day of the week it falls on. And I mean, I'm sure, it seems like the last couple of years, everybody's been pretty good about the day after. But yeah, with it being the 6th being on Saturday, we'll see how it goes. But
They take that day off, huh?
yeah, that's right.
All right, well, thank you.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you guys.
Clean it up. Full lake.
Well, I've seen one picture where the walkway down to their dock was flooded and the dock was out of water.
About 90% of them.
It's that full.
Just to clarify, Tina, since we set our schedule to the 5th with Ramona having theirs on the 6th, is there any issue with that or?
They'll probably have to just get special permission.
Okay.
Do you wanna just take a vote to
I would
allow
like
it?
to go ahead and I'd clear that up since it's been repeated.
What about the one for the county lake? Because they need a special permit too, right?
Isaac's getting,
They're on the regular
Isaac's
days.
getting one.
But I think it's commercial, so you have to.
Isaac's getting a permit, for
Yeah,
sure.
you said that.
The special event permit is approved administratively through planning and zoning generally, so on that one. But if you want to vote on it too, you can,
Oh, okay.
But this one would be outside of our
the allowed times.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would make the motion to allow Ramona to have their fireworks celebration, 4th of July celebration, on Saturdays.
6th. Yeah, I'd second that.
Okay, second by Commissioner Dalkey. Questions or discussion?
So what time?
All day.
It'll be over by 11.
Midnight?
That's where all your other ones are. So it's consistent.
So if anybody in the county wants to shoot on the 6th, they can go to Ramona and shoot fireworks.
Is the motion actually to allow them to have their fireworks, their city fireworks display
Yes.
on that day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said.
That's not to allow,
on that
just,
day. So midnight would be the end of that
that's a
day.
fireworks show, that's not to
It's not to shoot off.
shoot off, yes.
Okay, we take a vote. Ashley, did we ask for a vote?
I don't think
No, not yet.
anybody's
I just have a second.
That's good, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. I lost it. All right,
Lost.
lost the train. I didn't know if we had voted on it or not. All right,
I was gonna say the vote passed. I don't know what you're talking
no, before we voted. Never mind. Brad, what do you have for us today?
Executive session, we'll call them all potential litigation.
How long?
Depends on how many questions you have. 10 or 15 minutes.
Well, let's go at least 15. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. And that is item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege with Commission Brad and Tina for 15 minutes, 1:10 to 1:25. Second by Commissioner Garing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We will be back in 15 minutes at 1:25.
We'll see that's recorded.
Okay.
All right, we are out of executive session, no decisions made. We're gonna go back in for another 10 minutes. I move that we recess to executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 2, consultation with our attorney-client privilege with the commission, Brad and Tina, for 10 minutes, 1:27 to 1:37. Second by Commissioner Garing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Motion carried. We will be back in 10 minutes, 1:37.
Is that time?
The cameras come back to life.
All right, we are out of executive session, no decisions made. There was a request for property acquisition. How long?
5 minutes?
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss preliminary property acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 6, preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate with the commission, Brad and Tina, for 5 minutes, 1:35 to 1:40. Second by Commissioner Garing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Be back in 5 minutes, 1:35.
1:40.
1:40, sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we are on.
All right, we are out of executive session, no decisions made. And with that, we will shift back into budget discussions. We have Scott Lloyd here with us. And ready to dive into some numbers.
I don't know if it's good this year or not, because you're bringing some paper with red on it already. That's not.
That is good. That means Tina's been putting things in play. You don't have to.
Oh, this is your, okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yes, perfect. Oh.
I have an extra one. Okay. No, can you read it? I think I got out of all my stuff.
Okay.
Okay, well, Tina and I talked, and this is the way we're gonna try to do this today.
All right, good.
She's gonna lead the conversation because she actually is the one that put the budget document together, okay? And then, she's got your, I think she gave it to all her handout with her notes and all that, just kinda like we've done in the past. And then I went through this morning, and just made circles and things that I'm sure she's already got them, but just to see if there's anything. So she's gonna lead it. I'll jump in when I see anything that, or any discussion I feel like I could add value, and we'll go from there. Is that okay?
That sounds like a great plan.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so what I have given you, this budget document is not complete yet because I don't have capital improvement or employee benefits done on here. So the very first page, Scott's team put together that just shows the previous 2 years of the taxes levied by fund. And so that's the sheet you're used to seeing. But again, it's not complete because we don't have a levy in for the capital improvement or
The big one.
yeah, a couple of those big ones. So, well, there is no levy on capital improvements. Okay. Oh, okay. So, shall I, before you leave, should I say there's a shortage of attorneys and then you can leave? Oh,
Yeah, you can do that.
sorry.
And they command a great deal of noise. Thank you.
Sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Okay. So the second page is basically the budget certificate page.
One thing I might say about that front page, I didn't realize this till right now, but, I know it's not filled out on on the employee benefits, but that's why that's such a big, you probably saw that, that's why there's such a big deficit there. I went, holy smoke.
Yeah, that's because it's not complete.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be really in a good spot, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I was going, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have any circles on the front, really. So if you jump to page 7, we can start talking about some of these things. On most of the funds, what I tried to do was get to the same tax dollars that we had last year as a starting point. Some of them are over, but is everybody on 7?
Yes.
Circle page 7.
Circle page 7.
Circle page 7.
Gotcha.
Okay. So the local sales tax, kind of there in the middle. Last year, I think we had 900,000 in the budget. I put 900, or maybe we had 950, I have to remember, but we did get more in 2023, but we're trending down a little bit this year. I don't know if you've all noticed that. We're trending down a little bit on the sales tax, so I didn't want to estimate that too high. I think we're still okay at the 950,000 estimate. And so basically, that's what I put in there, just wanted to mention that. And that's what our estimated amounts are later in the budget. The next set of circles is the special auto closeout. Yeah, you'll see that next, there's 3 circles in a row. Last year, we didn't receive monies from special auto. This year, I think that's supposed to happen in June of each year. I'm estimating those amounts. I don't know yet what those amounts will be. That's basically whatever's left. The treasurer is supposed to transfer those monies over, whatever's not spent in their special auto fund
Last
each
year
year.
was due to our upheaval and stuff and change and stuff like
Yes,
that.
yes. And then also they did that remodeling project and, so we never did see, commission never did see what the costs of that was though. So, as of this point, I don't know what those amounts are. We may have a good idea for this current year within the next week or so.
Yeah, I talked to her, she was asking questions on how to get that. I think she talked to maybe you and I that last time we were here a little bit. But she's still trying to work out and getting those numbers.
Sure.
And it's by June 1st, so she's a little past, but I said, just we'll get it when we get her here. But
Okay, and then at the bottom, the interest on idle funds. Last year, we received $757,000 in interest. We budgeted $250,000 initially. So far this year, we're at $362,000. So that middle column, I'll bump that up a little bit, probably to, I don't want to go too high because we don't know how long that will last, but I'll probably put 4 or 450 in there.
yeah, I think her and I have talked several different times about the bank and, kind of giving a little leverage on the banker. There's still a couple that I don't think quite are given what they probably should be, but she's done a good job on getting that up because it was low. I mean, those rates were like, there were some of them 0.95, wasn't even
I talked to the treasurer and told her we need to rebid those on each maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bank's just gonna send you a little slip. Otherwise, and it's easy to overlook.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, so I probably put 450 or I may put 500 in there, depending on what we need for the budget.
I think if you're sitting here in 5 months, you're sitting at 362.
You can bump it up.
I think you can go 556.
Yeah. You might have to look at the maturities of some of those and when they came, they became mature because they.
Right, middle column.
I doubt if we have, I'm not sure, I don't think we have anything over a year.
I wasn't planning to.
If it happened to fall in the first half here and then you don't get it till next year or something, when one year it might be a difference.
All right, but anyway, so we'll gain a little bit right there. And then on page 8, I just made
One question I had on 7.
Yep.
Remind me on Diamond Vista and Sunflower, what's the term of those? Does that go on as long as they were
10
running?
years.
10 years, I can remember.
They go off on the property.
And this is the first year
That's the first year
for
of.
Sunflower.
Okay, of Sunflower, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Page 8, I've just noted that I figured the ad valorem tax the same dollars as last year on this fund for the time being. Okay, that was where I tried to start. Then you go into your general fund detail. County attorney, I don't have a presented budget, so I just estimated and kept things primarily the same, except the salary line. That's the fourth section down. You see that, but we haven't had a budget presentation from them, and I don't know if we'll have one, so. Does anybody have any questions or want to talk about any of the departments on this page? I did make some adjustments in the middle column on a few of them, on things that we should be able to carry over.
So would you have, I forgot to ask this morning, but you would have probably made a lot of the adjustments that you make after I get done.
Yeah, I did make
So
some of
you've
those
already made those adjustments already.
Some of them.
So we're a little ahead on that part, yeah, okay.
What I did was, when I first started, I put everything in exactly as budgeted, so I could check the numbers against the budget to make sure that I had the calculations right. And then a few of them I adjusted back for the current year, or I adjusted up, like on some of the salary lines where we're probably gonna be going over this year, I went ahead and adjusted those so that we could see the accurate picture of that in the middle column.
Thank you.
That's good.
On page 10, and I know you said you wanted to see which ones went up. I can have a better summary of that for you next week. I figure we can keep talking about the budget every week, you know, with or without Scott here, but I can give you a little bit more of a summary of what we budgeted last year versus this year, since I did change a few of the numbers there. On page 10, you'll notice there's no expenditure there for the grant expenses on emergency management at the top. That EMPG grant that we get every year, that, the way the reporting has been done, that's been applied to the salary every single year. And so we shouldn't have an additional expenditure line for that, because we're not spending it on it, we're supposed to be spending it on the salary. And so that's a change that we haven't done that before, so this year we are not putting an expenditure line in on that EMPG, because it's supposed to offset the salaries of the department. So what I've put in here is basically what everybody has requested on their budget. I didn't reduce anything yet at this point. Courthouse, I did a little bit of a change on that one. And I put some notes beside it. So on the salaries, we added the facilities technologies director, and then that salary reflects the director plus one maintenance person that would be split between all the buildings, except for like the park. And so like they would be doing the lawn work here, like at 1240, like the health department, those things. And then, as we discussed during the budget presentation, I did put in a custodial contract there on the contractual line item. And then the increase on the computer and operating line to 200,000, that was because of some cybersecurity measures that we've been taking and subscriptions that the board has approved for us to go on.
That funny thing is, I recognize.
How do you, I can't remember, how do you do your vehicles here? Does each department take care of like the maintenance and?
Do anything.
Yes. And we may be doing a switch on that depending on the department.
Osage County decided they got a maintenance guy, and they decided they're gonna make a maintenance budget. And so I thought that was, because sometimes it gets lost in the courthouse, not what all sure's in that line item for contract services, so.
Right.
And they got a new jail coming online, I think it's not this year, but maybe next fall. Well, I don't remember, maybe it's this fall. And so they were just gonna break all that out and have a maintenance department, and he'd also be in charge of making sure the cars are all the oil's changed, the tires, all that, instead of having one, so.
And that's something that I would like to do here too.
Yeah.
That it will not be this budget year. We're looking at maybe next year, we'd be at.
It's amazing how many people, when you start saying they're gonna take care of it, and they go, no, you're not.
Oh, really?
It's kinda like they take care of their own little kingdoms.
Can't touch my car,
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna crawl, walk, and run. That's what we're gonna do.
So we're still a long ways from running then, huh?
Yes, we are a long way from running.
Okay.
But we're scooting. That's what we're doing right now. We're doing the army crawl.
myself.
I wouldn't wanna mess with the maintenance of a car, yeah.
So in in this courthouse section, the courthouse improvements line, that was a separate line split out on the previous year's budget. I put it under courthouse. I don't know if we'll leave it like that or not. Because on the, it's split out on the detail page, but on the other page, it doesn't just split it out. So Scott, what do you think? Do you think we should show that separately like we did in the past? I kind of was trying to group this all together, but then you lose that on that one page.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's kind of whatever, what you all feel comfortable with, now that you're running this
Okay.
as administrator.
Well, I thought maybe we'd try it this way this year, but.
Sure.
If you notice, the middle column is 100,000. We had 600,000 budgeted on this line item for this year. And of course, the idea is to save up money to do some major repairs to the courthouse. And as you know, we are doing some renovations and some work on this year. And so I kept 100,000 in that line for this year. And then I put 500,000 on the line to save up for next year. We can make that amount more or less, whatever needs to happen when we get further along.
How much were we talking about the maintenance to the top of the courthouse?
Well, when they were talking about it initially, several years ago, they said 600,000.
$750,000 million? At least?
But that was one company. I mean, we haven't had it looked at or.
I mean, ballpark.
Right. And then you'll notice that you had last year, you had kind of talked about putting that line item, your goal is to save up to the 1.2 million number. That's where that number came from, was from your discussion last year. Does anybody have questions or concerns about any of those items right now? Okay. So then the next place we have circles is under the road and bridge section on this page. So what we have been doing is we have 80% of our sales tax is road and bridge and 20% is for other. And so the 80% that is road and bridge, of that, we take 2 mils worth of dollars and move that to capital improvement every year. And the remainder of those monies, which based on the 950,000 would be 412,000. The remainder of those monies are typically left in the general fund, but we spend it on blacktop materials. It's very difficult to track that. And so there is a statute that allows us to transfer that sales tax money into the road and bridge fund. And so that's what I would propose doing this year, is to take that sales tax that's left over after we do our capital improvement transfer and transfer it into road and bridge and then spend it out of blacktop. And that way it's easier to track those line items. So that's why there's a 0 there, but you'll see the new lines at the bottom of this section, the circle that says 412, 444, that says 2025 transfer sales tax to road and bridge. Does that make sense? Okay. That was everything I had on this page.
Are you done with the general fund?
What?
Are you done with the general fund?
Yes.
I have one thing I was gonna show, I was looking through here before I came over. If you look on your page 8. Circle 8, yep. I thought this was kinda interesting. So if you look at the ending unencumbered, and I may have said this last time, I don't remember. Look at the ending unencumbered cash on the first column, 2023, 3,801,805. You see that number down at the bottom of the column? Well, the carryover, which this is good, because I mean we're conservative when we look at the revenue from last year's budget, but the carryover amount to start the 24 year is 2,627,371. So it's about almost 1.2 million more than we anticipated. You see what I'm saying? So like if you
The
remember.
budgeted carry.
You remember when we always do it'd be the same number. If you go back to page 7, at the very top. So what I'm saying is that number on 24 started their budget, that on 25, it's 2,374,705, the top of the column. So last year, that number was 2,627,371 when we were budgeting. But when we actually ended the year at 12/31/23 or 1/1/24, it's 3,801,000. So we are 1.1 million. And I went through and looked at every one of those, and I think almost every fund had a positive. I think there was one maybe that was a negative or less, but that's a good thing. And it's better to be conservative and have cash than, like we've talked many times, but that's pretty healthy amount in the general fund to start the year with.
Some of those pages, I typed those numbers in on the
Yep.
side.
Mhm.
Okay. Does anybody have questions?
You're doing good so far.
Okay, well, and this is not, I haven't done anything with like cost of living or anything like that, what you talked about. We'll have those numbers separately and then you can decide. And I guess on page, on page 8, you know, our what I'm calling our cash reserve for 2025, I've only got 485,000 in there on the general fund, so you would want it to potentially be higher than that. Okay, does everybody see that? Okay. So it's not as easy as it looks right now.
But you're okay, because the middle column, do you think it's where it should be? Because usually that's later, but now we've already got the middle column adjusted pretty well.
Well, except for that interest.
Yeah.
So that's gonna put it closer to a little over $1 million on that, projected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Okay, so the next place that I have circled is on page 14, which is on debt service. And so that one is where we levy for our bond payment. Does everybody see that? So our bond payment is basically just a little under 650,000 a year. And if we budget the same if we levy the same tax dollars that we did last year, we would have $100,000 in that fund to carry forward. So, you know, I don't know if we're gonna levy the same or if you wanna adjust it a little bit.
Typically what they do on that is if they look at the interest payment, and I don't know if it shows here, let me look here. And half of the interest, the first one, yeah, so the first interest payment, so let's just say it's half, so that'd be 60,000. So people would be pretty comfortable with the $60,000 amount of cash carryover. Because the reason you do the cash carryover is because the distribution that comes out in January and March, you wanna make sure you have enough cash till those distributions get to you. And then once you make your first payment in May, then you would have enough cash because your distributions are there, and then you'd pay your October, or when, I don't remember when they were set up here, but.
And so I think that just this first year, having a little bit of extra cash carryover in there is probably not a bad idea, but.
That'd be one place if we get out at the end and we go, oh yeah, we could take 40 grand, you know. I mean, I'm just, and putting it somewhere else.
Right. And that's why it's circled, just so that you're aware of it. Okay. Page 15, really this is a question for you, Scott. Where am I supposed to find that state fuel tax?
Okay, so the budget tips is where they show that at.
Is that on the state Is that website or?
Yeah, so that's budget tips, no, it's, you have to pay for it.
Oh,
Counties might not have to, I have to, it's $250, but they're really handy, the budget tips are very handy. Tiffany was checking into it today, it's supposed to be available, but there's a schedule in it, you might be able to get the schedule somewhere else, I don't know. But it's a schedule put out, on the, fuel tax, that's what this is the fuel tax estimates for, and I think they've been dropping, that estimate's been dropping some.
okay.
But you can check with the league or the Kansas Association of Counties. I just don't know if there's any other place. I always get it in the budget tips.
Okay. So anyway, I put that in at 650,000 as an estimate until I have a better number. And then the neighborhood revitalization rebate, we'll have to put those numbers in. Oh, no way.
You got a figure for that yet?
No, that's always
Front page is still showing zeros. It's the last one.
That's always the last thing. But at the very back, well, let's see. Oh, yeah. It won't be there until I have the county clerk's estimate, or, in there.
Did you just get thrown under the bus?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I actually have the preliminary memo, but I missed putting the NR in there, apparently, so. I'll have that for you for next week. Ashley's on schedule, by the way, to have values out on time, so.
Good.
Yeah. Let's see. Road and Bridge is next. And we didn't really have any numbers when we met the last time for Road and Bridge. I did meet with Steve after I did a little bit of analysis of the current year spending and then the projected for next year. And so that's what we put in here. So the first page is just a summary of everything to follow. So we can pretty well skip that. The only reason I circled that is because I did the same tax dollars as as we had last year, as the preliminary number to go for. And then on the second page, you can see that it's split out by their different divisions. So we have the administrative, blacktop, gravel, shop, and then I put a new category in there, which is building projects. And I put the bridge construction line under that, and then road and bridge building under that. And then I put a transfer at the very bottom. So really nothing major on that administration portion up at the top right. That's like your office staff plus Steve, and then the section foreman is in there now, and then the administrative coordinator. So blacktop, really nothing major there. That commodities line, you see how in the middle column it's $1 million. That's what was budgeted for this year. In the right column, it's $1,412,444. That reflects that $412,444 of sales tax that we are moving into this fund. That's where it would be spent out of. Gravel roads. It's pretty well the same. The salary is increased a little bit because the staffing level is up to what, there are no vacancies. No new positions have been added, but the vacancies are being filled. Maintenance shop. I did put in a line here. I bumped fuel up a little bit to 600,000. We budgeted 550 this year. And in the middle column, I bumped it up a little bit because it looks like we're gonna exceed that. And then you see that there's a new line called shop equipment. So when they were in here, Tom mentioned and Steve about a lift and a tire machine. That's what that 75,000 is, whether we purchase something outright or not, but I put it in here just as a placeholder. And
Good.
So the shop, section is up a bit if you see that. And then the road and bridge building projects, the bridge construction 80/20, that line. we'll use that line item to pay for this bridge replacement that we're doing. And then I put, so we budgeted 400 for this year. We probably will spend closer to 300 on that project. But I also budgeted the same for next year. And then the road and bridge building, as you know, the 1240 commercial, we paid that renovation out of this line.
That was fine.
And so that is for the current year. And then I put the 500,000 in to start saving towards the 2 million on next year's budget.
You spent 275,000, or you don't have a figure in here yet? For
That number is gonna be pretty accurate. We've spent nearly that much.
What was that for?
The renovation of the office building out north where Road and Bridge is housed,
Oh, yeah.
the administrative offices. Okay. And then the next thing on Road and Bridge, which I guess I could have circled all these, but I didn't. The transfer, we used to do 500,000 to transfer to the equipment fund every year. We did that for quite a while. One year, I think we even, 1 or 2 years, we even did 600,000. And then a few years back, when we were getting really tight on gravel and some other things, we bumped that down to 350. But I know you're gonna have some equipment needs. And so I did put it in tentatively with a $500,000 transfer for 2025 in the budget. Does anybody have questions?
The carryover on this fund was from, on page 16 there, you'll see the ending cash is 3.574 million. And it was 2.9 that we estimated last year, so there's about 500,000.
Right. And on page 16 also, the cash reserve that this budget shows is 858,000. In that cash forward line. Does everybody see that? Okay. Steve and I did look at the current year budget and expenditures and where we are right now, and it looks like we're gonna be fine. We're gonna keep track of it really close each month. The problem that we run into is that we don't always get the bills over here timely. I don't know exactly where they're getting held up. And so it's really hard to know day to day where we are in that department with the bookkeeping, so, and with the budget, so. But we'll be watching it really close the next few months to make sure we're not overspending it. But I did not reduce any of the middle column numbers on Road and Bridge for this year. Any questions? Okay, page 18, here's a big one. Ambulance department. So, last year, we had 803,940 in ad valorem taxed for the ambulance department. And this year, the salary line, you'll see that halfway down on the very right, it's 1.657 million. Do you see that? That does include the supervisors and includes the Peabody staffing for full-time. And then contraction, all of the line items are up there with the exception of capital outlay. You'll remember during the budget presentation that Chuck requested a new line item for uniforms and he put 37,500 in there. So in the past, I think we've been paying for uniforms, like the shirts, I think we pay out of contractual because they're embroidered, but the pants are coming out of commodities. And so that's where it's come out of before. I think that line item probably needs to be discussed a little bit more to add that big of a line item just for uniforms all in 1 year. The director vehicle replacement, I'm not sure what year we actually need to do a new vehicle, but we have money there. So we potentially, if we have another year, we could possibly reduce that by one. I think that the goal of 35,000 may not be accurate anymore to replace that vehicle.
Used to be,
Yeah, so it may be higher.
it's 50 now probably.
And then the ambulance replacement, we do have, he had talked about repaying for an ambulance, that $375,000 in 2025, that's included here. Now, you may decide, if you're pre-buying it, I don't know how, you probably can't really lease purchase it. Several of the commissioners were, I sent out requests for whether your top things that we need to pay attention to in the budget over the next 5 years, and I did get some responses back. And one of them, of course, is the Peabody Ambulance Building. It seems to be a priority for the board. I put 300,000 in on that line. And then, of course, if you're building a building,
You know?
So, of course, all of this adds up. The next one is on the rescue services. And so you'll remember that last year that they did not spend any of the rescue money, so 52,000 is the amount that the rescue services would have out of the middle column. And then when Chuck presented his budget, he mentioned that they are asking, instead of 26,000 for next year, to have 35,000. And
I'd comment on that right quickly.
Sure.
26 has been there ever since I've been here. Yeah. And so you can't put a truck out for 26,000 a year if that continues to keep them satisfied for a few years. I think we need to go to there and probably go to that. I don't know what they've got in mind, especially, but that's. I think that we need to probably go there. We went up in the ambulance, but that's just been stayed there for equipment. So that's just my opinion.
Okay. And you'll notice where it says rescue services on the left, I put transfer. We do have authority to set up a special equipment fund there, so I would recommend that we transfer that into a separate special equipment fund for the rescue services.
Take it out of the ambulance?
Yeah, so it will be levied in ambulance but transferred to their own fund to build and save, and then when we spend it, it'll be spent out.
They could save it on their own then, is what you're saying.
Like a road and bridge equipment fund, just like we levy that in road and bridge and transfer to, you can do the same thing with this.
So if they had the 52,000,
So they'll have 52 and then they'll have the 35. So if we transfer 52 this year and then 35 for next year, then they would have that combined amount if they don't spend any this year. They'd have 87.
They could actually, and we never talked about it here, but Pratt has it this way, where you can actually put equipment reserve for each fund.
Right.
So instead of doing it like here where you have the fund and the amount, the line item and the amount parentheses, some counties just mess up their own equipment reserve for each of the funds that have ambulances or equipment like that.
So you could do another separate one, not necessarily just for the rescue, you could do a separate one as well for ambulance department, for the vehicles.
Put all those in there and then you can, what we're doing at Pratt City actually is building, they have equipment reserve on each one. And we're building one of those 5-year, just like capital improvement, we're building a 5-year projection so you know kind of what your expenses are over the next 5 years on those larger ticket items.
And then you can be a little bit more consistent in what you levy, but then transfer whatever's left into that.
That's something we could do here if you wanted to.
It'll build it up. Then you don't have to show that big expense out of the budget year that you're gonna buy it.
so, and I don't know anymore the price of any of our jaws or anything like that anymore, what they're at, but I'm just saying, so if they do that, they got 80-some thousand there that they could use. If they let it go another year, well, I guess what I'm getting at is, as long as they stay at this new level that we set, they need to decide amongst themselves and bring it to us, but make sure we got a new change of leaders in that department, so that everybody's involved. That's the biggest thing, is that everybody somewhere gets a part of that. Either the big departments, as Shelley put it, the main ones that standbys, and the others is part-time or.
So primary and secondary.
Primaries and secondaries, yeah, primaries and secondaries. So I think we want to follow that idea.
And they are working on that as a group, the fire chiefs are.
Okay, good.
I've been in communication with them a little bit.
Good.
Okay, any questions there? So I think you all have some decisions to make about how you wanna fund these things.
And this is the one that, on the beginning cash, or ending cash at 12/31/23, it's 939 there. And the carryover was 782, so a little bit difference there, but not as much.
Right, and then one other thing to think about. Sorry. I got distracted by what you said, Scott. I'm gonna have to look at it. Sorry.
What did you just say the cash in that department was?
Ambulance was, if you look at the first column, there's 939,344, right at the bottom of the first column there, or it's the second number up on the first column. First column of the first fund up there, right there, second line.
Okay, yeah.
939, and the carryover in the 24 budget was 782, so we're talking 150,000 difference.
I seen the cash down here somewhere.
Oh, down at the
Cash
bottom, yeah.
reserve, yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
it's
I
appraiser.
was asking that.
Appraiser, yeah.
Oh, wrong. Yeah.
Right, and just so you know, I haven't put anything in cash reserve on this fund either. Do you see that? Oh, wait. Yeah, there is nothing in.
No, you don't, so, yeah, so
So
everything's
we're gonna
spent.
have to add to it. Okay, so that's one that if you wanna do all the things that you said you wanna do, and you wanna do it in 1 year, that's gonna be a pretty big increase. Okay, so appraiser, really nothing there except for, there's still quite a bit of cash in that fund at the end of the 136,615. Cash reserves, so. On page 19, aging department, or Department on Aging, that did increase, but again, we have a vehicle that we're adding to, and then the other one was, the other part of that increase is on that insurance. Basically.
This is one that I think last year we had some extra cash in there, didn't we, or something we thought, so because the levy changed up there. If you look at the top, the aging on the second line, in the first column, it's 119, then we went to 83.
Yeah, I think we're trying to use.
We're using some of the cash up.
And we did a good job. Cause now it looks a little shy. We'll have to go back up
The
again.
insurance cost is going up because we're paying for more, 4 this year instead of 2. That was.
Well, and they had asked to put, well, it's just increasing too, because we didn't, the full amount to put 4 in there was like 58,000 that she was requesting, and we didn't put all that in there. I just put 35 in.
Okay.
So the price of the insurance is going up as well. And we're saving up towards vehicle replacement. We had 38,000 in parentheses. We're adding basically a little bit to that each year. So we're at 25 for this year.
Cash was basically a wash between the 24 carryover and the amount that ended with in the 23, so within $1,500. So we're pretty tight.
So anyway, that one would take a little bit of a levy increase to fund it at the level 1. I didn't make any changes on the election. I did put in the security project and then the grant award to offset that in the middle column. We do have some cash in that fund as well, but you are gonna have to be replacing equipment at some point, cause the equipment that we have, like the big equipment, it's expensive, so you don't wanna take too much out of there.
56,000 difference in that one. from what we carried over and what we actually had ended it with, so we had 56,000 more.
And then last year, of course, was a smaller election year. This is a really big one.
Sure.
Yeah.
You get your refund yet? And Clark?
Not yet.
Nope.
Not yet.
Rascals.
I know.
Yeah, how much is that refund gonna be, by the way?
Oh, I don't have it off the top of my head.
22. You submitted 20,
See, I'm 24 or something.
okay, but they won't probably give all of it to you, so maybe 20,000 though. So
Maybe
on the
45, what
reimbursement.
do you mean?
Do what?
It might give you 45, what do you mean?
I doubt that. Oh, I think I've got 28,000 in there, so I think I did account for that.
Oh, you didn't account for it?
Yeah. Cause we would have had a
We did
reimbursement,
get the
Oh, yeah, you
reimbursement
did.
for the school.
right, which that's, so I think I put 20 in for, or 22 for the state and then the other for the school. So I did account for that.
Haven't got state yet.
Wow.
Forgot what you did.
Yeah, I did forget what I did. It's been a lot. Obviously, the employee benefits has not been entered yet.
So you get your, you remind me again, you get your health insurance,
So we went to, we get it in, our plan year starts May 1st. So we're in our new plan year. And we went self-funded this year.
self-funded this year.
So,
Administrator, I mean, manages your,
no, right. So we're paying our claims and all of that and we pay Blue Cross a fee.
with a stop loss of a certain
Yes.
amount.
Yes.
Higher budget number, but could work out better in the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that'll, of course, I'm sure we won't be levying less than we did last year in that fund. So. Nothing really to speak of in noxious weed. Did you have something? Actually, there is, on the salaries there, we are including, full-time spray staff. The last few years, we have not had full-time spray staff. Josh has just been doing it, but, we're also not getting out where we need to go. So he's actually gonna trying to get someone hired to
Broad
actually.
statement there is, if we look at that department, organization and stuff.
So anyway, I did put staffing in there. On the health department, their contractual line item is fairly high there compared to the current. But we did spend 175,000 in 2023, so. And we are losing now, some of the COVID grants and things like that are going away, so. This one does have an increase on the levy right now, the way it sits.
What page you on?
Oh, sorry, page 21.
21.
So I'll just wanna double check all of those numbers on the grants and so forth, but we also, that expanding infrastructure, you know, we had received money in the prior year, and then that's part of the money that's going to the building.
What would the increase be? You say check this increase, what would the increase be for?
Well, I mean, she's got an increase, she's got 180,000 in there for contractual, and this year we had 125.
Some of it be your heat and cooling and stuff like that, building, is that what's going on?
No. That's what I don't know. That's why I just wanna double check and see what the increase is for on the contractual. There's also an increase like on personnel, so I'll verify that to see if I've adjusted something down here in the middle column. So I just really wanna look at that a little bit more and make sure that I understand. And then the middle column, state formula grant expense, I think I just pulled that from the budget, but I wanna double check that number too, so. Generally, we have been really good at budgeting the same or close to the same levy tax dollars in that fund every year. We don't drop it because of the state grant, but we shouldn't have a large increase there, I wouldn't think. So I'm gonna look into that a little bit more.
I think the ones I've seen across all the counties I'm doing, it seems like they've got their COVID money pretty well spent.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get adjusted back to like a normal, if there is a normal health department.
That's right, and that's what we don't know yet, what that's gonna look like, and so. One other thing that I just remembered on the ambulance fund, we, Chuck has submitted, for us to look at what we're charging on our rates, our service fees, and so we should be able to bring our revenue up a little bit because it's time to adjust those fees again. So that'll be coming to you on an upcoming meeting, okay? Solid waste fund, I don't know if we wanna utilize some of the cash in there and reduce that levy a bit.
One way to look at that, we haven't talked about this much, but like on that one there, for example, expenditures in 23 were 40,000, 326. And if we go back to that monthly, figuring out, how many months of reserves you got, you're sitting at almost 3 years of expenditures. So now there may be some reasons to do that. I don't know what all the, if there's any unknowns here, but that's just something to look at to say, we've got plenty of cash.
Need more equipment.
Yeah, so if they got more equipment, then we use it, yeah.
We don't need equipment in that fund, in that department, but I guess time for my ginseng for the day. I can't remember what I was gonna say.
You're too young to be having those.
What's that?
So you're too young to be having those.
Oh my goodness. That's funny.
That's all for your paint and materials. I don't know what kind of equipment are you thinking about, Dave?
Yeah, there's really.
Solid waste.
Yeah, that's
And not transfer station, solid waste.
So what I was gonna say is the levy in this, the levy amount, the levy rate in this fund is pretty low. So, but we have a little bit of cash sitting there, so. Okay, page 22, Park and Lake. This one. If we, depending on what projects you wanna do in 2025, this, if you do everything that we had listed here, then that's gonna potentially need a little bit more tax dollars than what we have for this year.
Go through it real quick like this. I'm looking for projects. Where are you looking at for projects?
Okay, so the, you see where it says expenditures?
Yeah.
So it would be like electric water upgrade, 50,000. So in the middle column, we are spending 50,000 this year for our upgrades.
I thought we had the superintendent garage built in already.
We did for this year, but if we don't do it this year, then I put it to next year. That gives us more flexibility on when to put that.
Cause then that just makes it look
See,
like.
last year we didn't spend any, we didn't spend on projects really, so. So the superintendent garage, 50,000, and the equipment storage, 50,000. Since it doesn't look like we're gonna spend that this year, I moved it to next year's budget.
And what that does is gives you budget authority in both years.
Right.
So that if you do, you can go on and spend it this year, but
Because it's in our budget, the
it's in our budget.
adopted budget. Then we just don't have money to do it. We wouldn't carry that money forward.
I think
So
when
we
we
could
talked
do it.
about it, his first response was the equipment shed first.
Right.
He's got that in there too.
Yeah, it's there. I'm just saying that was his first response.
That's all going on 2025 budget.
Well, it's already in this year's budget, so we could do it this year if we wanted to. It's just a matter of if I show it as a 0 and we adopt a budget showing it next year, we have authority to do it in either year. Spending authority, as long as we have money.
We're not hurting the levy any if we've already got it, right?
No, because what would hurt the levy would be if I put,
If you left 50 in the middle column and also carried 50 forward.
right, so like if you look on that electrical project, we are spending that this year, but I also put that much in again next year. So that one does impact the levy. So that's a project you need to look at. Are we going to do an upgrade next year and what amount? Does that make sense? Cause yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't see the new number, see? I guess I didn't look at it that way.
It throws you off a little bit because it makes the middle column look smaller.
Yep.
The next column, so it looks like you're increasing your spending.
And you are.
And it's just back to that whole thing, like, if you do get it spent this year, you will have budget in 25, but you'll have no cash.
Right, so you wouldn't
See,
need to
so,
spend it next year.
This way, if you don't spend the cash this year, you'll have both budget and cash next year.
So we need a good county clerk to say no more, right?
Well,
I'm just waking her up, just see what. Can't go over this 50,000.
How do you keep getting thrown under the bus in this?
I don't know, she's taking kind of rough
I
to
guess
it.
on Park, maybe some feedback from you all. Do you want to keep the dollars levied close to what we did this year? Or are you interested in increasing it if we're gonna do another project next year?
Dollars levied.
Okay, so you want it adjusted back to where it matches what we levied this year. I hear from Jonah. I don't know about anybody else.
I agree.
Okay. Okay,
What does that mean though? Anybody could just say that, but what are you sacrificing actually? So
well, it just means that you can put in your equipment storage and potentially part of the garage or all of it, but then you take out the utility upgrade for next year. And it doesn't matter what you actually end up doing as long as you don't spend more than what you're putting in for the
That
next
is a
year.
new,
You can shift those projects around.
we didn't have that budget before, did we? So
Yes, you did.
that is a,
we had a budget, we spent it, and then they put it back in the budget
Okay.
again.
okay.
So unless you're planning on doing more upgrades, which I don't know. I don't
I
know.
mean, there are areas out there that's,
They wanna continue doing the upgrades.
What you're saying is though, since you got those two line items at 50,000, if we did one project and we had to spend $99,999, we could combine them.
right. Or if you decided not to do the garage and you spent 60 on a shed and you wanted to spend, some money and do an upgrade on utilities, even though it's not designated that in the budget, you've got the money and you've got the budget authority to do it, to shift those around.
And I agree with you there on that, because how many years have I said, did you get a shed? Did you get, I've asked him 2 or 3 years, so what I'm getting at is I would take the money from this garage and do the water upgrade, or whatever it is, electrical water upgrade for 50,000. I'd go up there and do that this next year, make sure we get it done, get the equipment storage done, and then after that, the next year, in 2026, you have just a superintendent's garage in that line.
But she's saying as long as you leave it in one of them columns, it has flexibility.
Yeah.
So
Right, so but I think what Randy's saying is to use that as the line item to adjust the budget back down to the appropriate level.
You could use that 50,000, forget the garage for 2024 and 25. Take that out, and then use your money up there for your electrical upgrade, that 50,000 that I just took out, just use it, because that 50,000 electrical water upgrade is new for 25. So you just take that 50,000, move up, is that right, Scott? And,
We had it in 24, but it's.
well,
So let me,
That's another one.
look at the 3 columns, and this might help you. So like at the bottom of each of the 3 columns, there's what's called budget authority. You see that? It starts with 489,380. You see that? In the middle column is 480,798, and then the one for 25 is 483,972. So those are all within literally less than $10,000. Then you start back at the first column again, you look at the cash. at the beginning of, and end of '23, we had 215. The carryover was 189 last year, so we have a little more cash there. But one middle column is 153. So if we keep spending, even though we have budget authority, the same almost in all three columns, the cash has been sitting there. We've had over 200,000 for a couple times just because you're waiting on getting those projects done. So once you spend that money, then that budget authority will also drop off because you won't have the money to keep rolling it over to the next year. But that's a good, on all these funds, you can look at that and see, even though we cut the middle column, what was his name, Dan?
Yeah.
Dan always had, we always laughed about the middle column.
Yep.
But that middle column is really powerful because like in this case with the park, we're estimating 361, but we really have budget authority in the middle column for 480. Even though we carried over the 50,000 twice, the 50,000 in electrical over to 25 and the other 250,000. So that,
So I mean, realistically, that account needs $3,000 extra to fund it, the way it is now.
yeah, it's like, well,
No.
no, you would
I mean,
be,
3,000 over what we budgeted last year.
if you wanted to get that close, but like, 123 is what we levied. If you look at the second
The
line from the
circle
top,
up there.
oh, you gotta, I'm looking at mine, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
123 and, you're at 156. So it kinda, I thought Randy was gonna say,
I was looking
Yeah,
at
so-
153.
I thought Randy was gonna say, well, we've had this line this long, we've had this extra 50 in here, so we just need to get her done. I thought that's what you were gonna say. But,
If you're not gonna do it, get it done, cut it out,
Yeah.
get something else
Yeah.
done.
so,
Your multi-purpose building.
Yeah, you could go to an ambulance building too.
Yeah, you could.
Rob it from that account.
But I wanna see something done, I guess. Now that's one way or the other,
Let's
'cause
spend some money, huh?
now, see me now or see me later, 'cause the tractor's gonna fall apart someday.
Yeah.
one question I had on park.
Yep.
It's like Randy said on the 26,000 for rescue. As long as I've done the budget, I think that 26,000 has been 26,000, on the ambulance,
Yes.
okay?
Yes,
So this
I
is another number that's been the same literally since I've done the budget. State Kansas fishing fees. So do that, state never adjust those, or how's that, I mean, what is that? I can't remember what that even is. Is that,
That's the CFAP program.
they never adjust it?
They do adjust it occasionally. But that is, I think that's
It's
the.
the same amount, it's been the same amount for 20 years probably.
Right, we'll have to look at that, but I know that.
You might just ask and see,
We haven't had it that long, Scott.
No.
This was added, this is money that was added a few years ago.
Take away the fishing license,
Yeah.
we took away the fishing license for the county,
Yeah.
and it may become, everybody could come in and fish.
We probably had it for 8 or 9 years.
Yes.
Oh, that's all?
Yes.
Um,
Slipping on fast.
okay. Any other things on park?
But we got a new administrator and she's gonna get it done.
He's gonna get her done.
You mean I'm gonna get these buildings built? Is that what you mean?
In his tool shed.
Oh, mercy.
As long as I have my own space out there.
Then we catch her out there with a fishing pole in.
No, probably something else. Okay,
Fishing pole.
I'm not very good at fishing, I can tell you.
Still a coffee mug, it just,
Yes,
don't know what's
a coffee mug, that's right. And a hammock.
Move on, Special Bridge.
All right, Special Bridge, I didn't make any changes. This is where you pay culverts and things like that out of, so. North to Sweet capital outlay, we have 10,000 instead of 5,000 budgeted for transfers this year and next year. And that if you decided that you wanted to cut back the weed budget, I mean, you wouldn't have to make those that much of a transfer. We typically have done 5,000. And then you also, basically you save up for equipment here and then you can spend out of it. And the tech fund is, we just budget based on what we think that the revenue's gonna be and then budget it to 0, so. Nothing really on those unless you have comments.
New treasure our new register of deeds coming in, how could that affect it?
It won't.
For the salaries. Oh, well, that's not.
No, that doesn't come out of here. This is for technology needs, and they buy most of their tech out of their tech fund, and also can use it for digitizing and things like that. They, and this is, the revenue from this comes from the documents that are filed, so there's really nothing to do on that. Special alcohol fund at the bottom of this, page 24. In 2023, we did have a budget violation there because if you remember, that money comes in to the treasurer and then they pay it immediately back out to FACT, administers those funds for us. And the treasurer does not track budget. And so we had it set up in the past where before they would make that last distribution of the year, they would check in with us, because this has happened before in this fund where we've had a budget violation. It's been years ago. But because we don't ever see and authorize that expense, it goes straight from the treasury, then it's kind of a broken internal control, I guess you would say. So when we've had change of staff and everything, so that was missed this time. And so it was a budget violation. We spent more than we had a budget authority to spend, but it's just because that's how much came in and it went right back out. So in the future, what we are going, Ashley and Tina and I talked, and when we get that distribution in from the state, from now on, we're gonna pay that through accounts payable to FACT instead of through the treasurer. Because then we have the ability to make sure that we have budget to pay it. So that's the solution for that. And if we don't, then we just have to hold it and pay it the next time. Okay, so the E911 on page 25, that fund has been shrinking over the years, the cash in that fund. We've been spending more than we take in for quite a few years. And so that fund is not the healthiest at the moment. I put in the budget request as it was presented. But if we spend all of that out of there, we're gonna be short on cash. So there's probably some of their expenditures are gonna have to go out of dispatch, which is in the general fund instead of out of this budget.
But is that a cure? What's our cure for it, Tina?
There is no cure. The money from this fund comes from 911 surcharge fees that are on phone bills. And so
it's more the allocation of
it's the allocation of expenditures. So we've been paying there are only certain things you can pay out of this. But right now, the fees we're collecting through those phone bills, which I don't think we have any control over, that's set by the state at the state level, is not sufficient to cover the expenses that we have typically been charging here. So
Is that landline fees and not mobile fees?
no, it's mobile fees.
They're all,
Okay.
So just making you aware of that, that's gonna affect our general fund unless there's a way to cut back on their expenditures.
Is there any?
And then the next one we have is the special equipment fund for road and bridge. You'll see that I did account for a $500,000 transfer. Of course, that's, if you all disagree and want to change that amount, we can do that. But this is based on the lease purchases we currently have. And then the $302,000 on the right column, the top line under expenditures, that's unallocated that they can spend on other equipment right now. And then there's a $50,000 line at the bottom of this section that is for rental equipment. Does anybody have questions about
Do
the
we have any
special
sale
equipment?
of equipment?
So when we do have that,
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure, didn't we?
I was thinking we sold some.
Sold the Volvos a long time ago.
Do that long?
That's been a lot
We
longer.
did some
Yeah.
purple wave last year, didn't
I don't know.
I think it was toward the end of 2022. I'll have to double check that.
we? It was.
So Now, we could potentially have some sale of equipment this year if we can get rid of some of the dump trucks and so forth. Did we have last year? Do you remember? Yeah, I'd have to double check too.
2022.
'Cause I feel like we should have had something, but
That was the pickups, the old service trucks, the Volvos, there was a few items. The whole purple wave.
let's see, let me look at last year's budget real quick. Look at the,
Well, that'd be the same question, I guess, didn't, we sold a skid loader at Road and Bridge and got a new one, didn't we?
The Road and Bridge, or was that transfer station?
Traded those in, didn't they?
But I'm talking about 2 years, probably 2 years ago in 22 is when we got rid of that and got a new one.
yeah, that wasn't last year, I don't believe.
Skid steer,
Skid steer's about
Zero.
paid off.
yeah, it's got it paid off, here it is.
Yeah, I think that was the one on the lease purchase schedule that got paid off in 25.
I'll double check on that, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that those numbers were double checked on the financials from last year.
And then the other, it looks like, and then
Oh, okay.
you can double check.
So real quick, I have, 2022, sale of equipment, we had 325,546. So, in
22.
22.
Did that go back into our equipment fund then?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
What did you ask me to double check on, Scott?
Oh, I was just saying, I was looking at, so that skid steer that you talked about got paid off. And the other two that will be paid off in 25 will be the 212 Cat grader and the 219 Cat dozer. It looks like that's the last payments. Is that right? Yeah, that's the last payments in 25. So that's another 60,000. You'll pay it 25, then you'll be done with those two. So that's about 90,000 together. Counting those three.
So that could potentially be rolled into a new lease purchase for a grader or something. It was mentioned that the dozer, we don't use it much at all, and we have an older one as well.
The 6-way was not.
So just something to keep in mind on that.
I don't know what kind of loss, I'd like to see what a value versus, what we paid for it. See if there's a big loss there, but I mean, what I ask is 200 hours on it, and it's 5 years old. It'll be the 5th year up here. Yeah. You drive it.
The road rebuild.
Occasionally, they occasionally use it. Or as expensive as it is, they almost could rent something or.
We don't have an operator, we don't use
No,
it.
we got operators.
Okay, well, I didn't know,
Yeah, there's guys.
nobody knew how to use it, you know?
Yeah, they do.
no. Machine 3s.
All right, anything else on that? Okay,
Is that brand new one? Dozer?
Yes.
I can too, but if it's done correctly.
That was in 20, or before the COVID, kind of like 511.
If I don't have levels anymore, I got a joystick.
47.
Right.
I would think it's probably more than that.
Those
Dozers aren't as usable as others.
Levers and pedals.
Still, a construction company would probably swoop that
If you don't pull hard enough.
compared to a new price.
One of those, yeah. Anyway.
okay, on page 26, I'm just planning to transfer the rest of that bail bond and interest money to the general fund and be able to spend that out this year. We'll spend it probably to pay towards the, we'll have a couple air conditioning units that we're replacing. But it's just easier to have it in the general fund than it is to have it here and try to split that.
It's not for you to bail you out or anything like that, is it?
No, that $759 is not gonna really go very far, but we can get rid of that off our financial statement then and be done with it. Okay, capital improvement, I did not put anything in here. I figure we can discuss the projects that you wanna be looking at for next year.
Was that sales tax money that had to go to the building, that $759, Jed?
Yes, but the statute says that we can put it then in the general fund and
Okay.
utilize it after.
Good.
And we've used it for law enforcement purposes this whole time, and plus the jail is in the general fund, so. Risk management, we haven't really added anything to this fund in a while, other than some grants, so. We're at 199, 959, so just something to think about. It wouldn't hurt to add some. We were up to like between 300,000 and 400,000 in that fund for a few years, so.
Maybe it's.
We were gonna-
Levy and then the levy threw me off, but isn't this the one we raised the mill levy on?
No, there is not a mill levy.
Levy on this one.
It's just a transfer.
Transfer
Did
from,
we say we were putting money in risk management and raised the mill levy
You
last year?
raised the mill levy for risk management, but then you didn't put any transfers into the budget. However, risk management can also include this is something you talked about in your discussion, increases in health insurance and insurance costs and all kinds of other things.
what did your property insurance and equipment go up, do you know?
Quite a bit, yeah. I don't know what
Jackson
percent.
County's went up 140,000 or something.
Yeah, ours went up quite a
See,
bit
that'd
as
be,
well.
I've been telling them that's a risk, you know, to manage your risk on what that's going up on a lot of them. And Pratt Cities was unbelievable too.
Right. So, yes and no, Commissioner.
I mean, I remember it.
Right.
It specifically said to go to risk management. I
Right.
voted against it, so I mean, I remember it.
Right. Yeah, but you're not wrong, but we haven't set any transfers to go in there. You did vote at one point to put the LATCF money in there, and then it ended up, we did 50,000 in the general fund, and the other 50,000 was reallocated to the health department building instead of coming in here, so.
Well, you're gonna have to have a splash fund somewhere to go to, I mean.
Well, yeah, I know, we're talking about raising this fund or doing something for this. But here, all this time I was thinking we have been, so now it's like, it feels like it's getting shifted in different places when I thought it was going there, so.
Right, it hasn't gone there at this point. It doesn't mean we can't transfer some money in there. Let's see, the transfer station,
Cash reserve, 32,000.
this one is pretty tight.
Extremely.
That's not even a trailer, 32,000.
Well, the trailer is budgeted in the, let's see, capital.
About 80,000.
That's 100,000 in this year and 100,000 in next year.
Commodities, that's okay. That's
The
80.
investment fees raised by 100,000 wasn't enough to cover.
Well, I mean, we're still scraping by there at the moment.
Is that right? You got about, that's January 1st of 24, the balance was 1.418 million. So that's about 10 years left, is that about what it is?
Oh, on the building? Yeah, that's
Yeah, cause that's about what would be
15.
equivalent to a mill, even though there's not a mill in this fund, but.
and if we do get tight on this fund, then that lease purchase payment on the building, we're paying it out of here right now. Potentially, we may have to move that payment to the general fund, which gives us a little bit more money to operate.
We can, Tina, but is that our goal?
Well, no, that's why it's in here,
Well, that's,
the way it is.
yeah.
I asked Pratt runs their own landfill. I asked him the other day, he's a really good operator, he's a young guy. But I said, is it cheaper to just put the recycling on the truck and take it to the landfill? He goes, well, yeah, but that's not, so that's something it's gonna be quite a conversation at some point, cause the recycling in every one of the counties I'm working on is underwater,
Not enough of it, and
That's something,
the price is horrible.
that's something to look at.
Yeah.
See too, but I mean, so we did it, I couldn't remember, what was our recycling fee minus our solid waste assessment fee, kind of the average.
Yeah.
We could, that's the reason why the recycling fee coming in is less than the recycling fee going out.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's offsetting solid waste. Or not solid waste, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you mean, yeah, the tipping fees. All right, anybody have questions or wanna talk about the transfer station?
Is that contract, so you do all your own hauling on yours, don't you? Yeah. You're buying the trailers and all that.
So the contractual is utilities and tipping fees at Butler County, and then that's basically the big items there. Insurance. Lake Patrol and County Tech Fund, there's really nothing there. On page 29, the bait shop, I do have another $5,000 to transfer back to park. If the profit, if the income is enough, then that would repay the money that we,
That'd be it, all right,
yes,
the last.
that'd be the last one. And within there, you do have, you know, we budgeted lake improvements, that's what that money is supposed to go towards, so. Once that builds, if it builds up a little bit more, then you can potentially do a project out of there if, once you build it up a little bit.
Isaac's recommendations.
Yeah. So then on page 30, there's that new fund for the special equipment for rescue services. So,
I think that cleans it up a lot.
and I will need to add one other new fund, but I wasn't sure to put it on a budgeted or non-budgeted. So for the, Scott, we're doing a health department, we're creating a capital project fund for the building.
Okay.
And so we're paying for that from multiple sources, so we're transferring money like from ARPA, from wind farm and some general fund money into that. And also some money from the health department and the grants that can go towards it. So would that be better to show as a budgeted or non-budgeted fund?
Will it be completed in 24, 25,
25,
25?
should be completed in 25.
It's not required to be budgeted. The capital project fund can be just an actual expenditure year.
Right.
But on those capital improvement, doesn't have to be budgeted either, but we show it as a
We
3-year.
do, I know, that's why I was asking what
Nice
year.
flow. I mean, it'll show them if some gets, will any get spent in 24 or will it all be 25?
No, we're already spending now.
Yeah, so that would show 24 and 25 and show how it's spent.
So put it as a budgeted fund,
Yeah,
even
probably
though it's
be.
not required.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. So that'll be added on here. And we already have transferred some money into that fund, and that's, I already have some of that shown as expenditures in the general fund, so. And then the health department fund as well. The last few pages are non-budgeted funds, so those are just actuals that were spent in 2023. And that's all that's required on those. So that's basically what I have in here right now.
I just think it's revenue neutral.
One thing that we didn't talk about, that we should talk about, is if you go back to page 1. So, see the first little red that's minus 12 and then 28 at the very bottom? On the red.
Yep.
So go to the left of that first line, that black, that's 181, 123, 513. That is the current year valuation. Previous year was 174, 151, 089. So I think revenue neutral is probably not likely because that means you would budget this, you would levy the same tax dollars. Our I don't think that we're gonna be able to do that and accomplish everything you wanna accomplish. But you might be able to lower the mill rate some and not capture that whole value increase. Because that's pretty good increase.
So what I did is I had them send me the Excel, you got it too, I think they sent it to you. But
Oh, I just sent it to you, but is it the same? Oh, the Excel, this.
Excel,
okay.
not the PDF, the Excel. And so I just put the 2.3 million of employee benefits in the same, so I could see what the rest of the impact was.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's 488,280 is that column P there where it shows right above the 6.9 million, it's 488,280 would be about the increase because of the assessed value increase in tax dollars. Does that make sense?
Say that again, sorry.
Okay, so
Where you at? Column P, okay.
okay, so column P, so it'd be the second column from the right on your sheet. And let me get on your sheet here so I can show you what number you got. Okay, so if you look at the 12, like she said, the 12.928, that is the red number on the first column. You go to the next one, it's 1.8 million. Well, if you back out the employee benefit, which let's just say it stays the same, that number there, that 1,813,000 becomes 488,280. Yeah, 488,280. And then that next number over, the 62.950, becomes 75.658. Okay?
75 point what?
658. So what difference we have if we say the employee benefit's gonna stay the same, what that does is gets us within 0.22. So that number over there at the side, the 12.928, is 0.22 difference than the mill levy in 24's budget. And you just go along that line, it's 75.878. So what reason I'm showing you that is because what that does is because the assessed value increase going to 181, 123 estimated, that will generate 488,280 plus a little bit more because of the negative 0.22. So it'll be somewhere, what would that be? That'd be about another 20,000. So right at 500,000 you're generating because of the assessed value increase. You see what I'm saying? I was trying to get back to that number. And the way she's got it right now, if you look there at the numbers in that column right above the 1,000,008, you look at the first number up there, it's 362,953 is ambulance. Do you see that number?
Yes.
Okay, so what she's done is taken the 488 and broke it down between the four funds she talked about. So ambulance is 362, aging is 25,847, health is 67,046, and park was 32,434. Now that's not saying you have to put it in those funds, but that's the way she had, when we looked through there, the cash or whatever's going on, that was the difference. And to get revenue neutral, let me double check something here real quick. At 75, if we had the same mill levy as last year, 75,878, and revenue neutral in this budget is 72.957. Okay.
Last page, on page 34.
Yeah, on page 34, I guess it is, yep. So if you look at the right hand, I think maybe she's circled, well, yeah, it's not circled, it's right above there on the very right hand column, 72,957, the very bottom number. And last year's is in the middle column there, 75,878. Because the assessed value went up so much, that's why so when the dollars stay the same, the assessed value goes up, the mill levy goes down. That's why the revenue neutral rate is down to 72.957. So if we leave the mill levy the same, that's why we generate 500,000, because we had that increase. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Leave the mill levy same, you generate.
If you leave the mill levy the same as last year, you're generating roughly 500,000 because of the assessed value increase. What it basically is if you look on your sheet, how you get to that number is that 6,972,000, you see that number? It's the second column over there, the bottom number there. Black one, 6,972,424. So the way you get that is if you took 3 decimal points to the left, because you're wanting to get to 1 mil of increase because of assessed value is 6,972. So for every mil you have, you're generating, because of the increased assessed value, you're getting 6,972 for each mil.
For each meal?
Because that's how you get to 500,000. So you take the 6,972 times the 78,878, and that's how you get to the 500,000. That's pretty good. That's pretty nice increase.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, Jonah, about that, so I think where we got to last year at the very end there, we said we had 1 mil, and you voted against, I think, but I think David and everybody else, because there was some conversation there, but that 1 mil was to go to risk assessment. Risk management. Yeah, and assessments, that's an auditing term, risk assessment. Risk management, and like Tina said, risk management, I'm not sure we have it defined totally in the risk management fund. So like in some counties, I've had them set them up this year because of health insurance, property insurance, and those types of things that have went up so much. So like Jackson County's went up 1 mil, just the property insurance went up 1 mil just because of the increase. And it's gonna get worse, I think, just because you look at all these disasters, insurance is not gonna get any cheaper. So we probably could clean that up a little bit if you wanted to. It's you and the administrator, however you wanna do it, where.
As long as it was being spent.
Yeah, for risk management.
Purpose, yeah.
But I'm a big believer, and all of us in this room are, I think, the more transparent you can be with how the money's spent, that's important. I understand that. Pratt City, I've only done this my second year, and he goes, "Where's that mythical capital improvement worksheet you're talking about?" I said, "Mythical." Okay, well, we're getting there. Sometimes that's trying to get to making sure you totally, are transparent with everything that happens is sometimes a challenge.
That's one other piece that I wanna put in here, is to list out by department, kind of what the actual needs are for the future. So we're not always just being reactive, but we're planning ahead. And so,
Here's a new thing. I don't think I told you about this. This just happened in Jackson County. And she's gonna do it, and I'm not sure, I have to ask each county or city. Pratt has it, city, I'm not sure about the other counties, but Jackson, what we're gonna do actually is do the Microsoft version of Excel where you can actually go online, what's that called, OneDrive. So you put your Excel spreadsheet out in OneDrive, and what happens is each department updates their own, so that the county clerk doesn't have to mess with it. So then what it does is they go into their tab, they update their own, and we've pretty well got it set up for Jackson County. And the clerk would oversee it, but each person would update their own, and then as they have changes and they come in and talk to you, we're gonna move this from this year to next year, and they would always have the fresh worksheet to be able to print out for you so you know where you're at, okay? See, the problem is right now, that's why the mythical Pratt City one, "Oh, Scott, have you got that done?" "Well, I've got it done, but it changes every month or every quarter." And this way, the department would be in charge of keeping it up to date instead of the clerk's office or administration. And then on the end of that that's what I think is good for decision making, is when all those on Excel, you can actually accumulate all those sheets and you have a total sheet. So in 25, you would know, based on all these departments filling out their sheets, you would know what the total cash outlay would be if you carried through with the 2025 capital improvement or equipment reserve. So it's a way to, it just takes a little bit, and everybody's gotta be diligent about it, you know? But that way it puts the burden back on the department head and not all the burden, you know, of the clerk or the administrator having to update those sheets. So we're testing it at Jackson. I think it's gonna work pretty slick. So I don't know if you have to have I don't know what your Microsoft license is here. You may not have it. And I don't know what the cost is. I don't know off the top of my head what the cost is. The reason that John Regier, you haven't met him yet, but John's come back to work for me. And he was the Derby finance director at the Derby School District for 5 years. And so he really got into all that there, where literally you send a little email and you have a little link on there. You tap it, you're right there. I mean, it's literally.
As of right now, we're not really allowed to do that.
You're not do that? Mm-hmm.
Because going through the.
Yeah. It's a scary thing, cause you don't know, it's a scary thing, but they would, I don't know if you have a.
Schools use Google Sheets a lot, like
Yeah.
Google and OneDrive and all that, and for security, they don't really like us to use that, but doesn't mean that we might be able to duplicate it.
Is there a way for them to get to the server? Like, do you have a server, or is there some way? Cause what you can do is actually post it out there too, where they can,
and they
it's
can
internal, and then they just go to it without going through a link.
Yeah, that might be.
Yeah, it might be a better way. Anyway, that's just something we're gonna try.
Tina, was there something that you hadn't figured back in that's gonna, is that the health insurance that's gonna boost this up? Is that what's gonna happen, right? When you-
Right.
Page 1
Yeah,
shows that negative 12,
Yes.
13 mils. It's all
Yeah.
health insurance, basically.
Yeah, it is actually, because like the worksheet Scott's talking about, if we just put it in the same amount as last year, like he said, I'm just gonna print that off, Scott, what
Yeah.
has changed,
Yeah.
so you can see.
That gives you an idea. It's at least gonna be that.
But your back page shows it pretty well already.
Yeah.
It shows it at negative 62.9. Yeah. So all your work, other sheets is already there.
Right. Don't remember how many I printed.
Yeah, so that's what happened now. Yep.
You need one?
No, I got one.
Okay. So now you can see it.
But that's with putting back the employee benefits using.
The same, yeah.
Right, and that's not, likely. It might increase a little bit, and that's not even having the discussion yet of whether you want to be looking at the capers versus KPNF, because that's a pretty big number increase. We do have a number for that, when we're moving forward in another discussion, you know, on it. Maybe next week we can look at that, but if you're interested in looking at it this year.
Nice thought. It's just the ambulance column
Right.
has got almost 2 mils
Right.
increased.
Yeah.
Just in it alone.
If we do everything that we're talking about doing there.
And I know that's unfair to the sheriffs, because I mean, we're putting a pretty big investment already in the ambulance. To add more.
what did 3 supervisors cost last year?
We figured 2.
It's like another $2 an hour per paramedic, on those.
Yeah, but we didn't have any supervisors, we had 3 new positions, what I was getting at.
So,
So,
It's
I can provide that for you. I have the breakdown of it.
no matter what we do, it costs.
Right.
So here's a way, I was just messing with it here. If you go to your page 20, the employee benefits, so you just kind of have a rough idea. I don't know if it's even close or not, I'm just messing with it. that you spent in 23, the bold number at the bottom of the column, 3 up on the bottom of the column on page 20, top fund. You spent $2,158,595. You see that number? Okay, so let's just play a little game here. So if we took that number and increased it 10% for 24, and I have no idea what.
Yep, I know what you're doing.
Yeah. So that would be in 24, that would be an increase of 215,860. That would be 2,374,455. And then take 10% of that, and that would be 237,446. And add those together, that plus 74455 equals 2,611,000, roughly 900. Okay, so that'd be 2025's expenditure. We have cash at the end of 23 of $1 million. So depending on where that comes in at, because the mill levy went up a little bit last year from 2.2 to 2.3. So I think we put 100,000 in there. Does that sound right? Looks like.
Probably.
Yeah. So we'd have cash of $1 million. We're going to spend an additional 215,000. So some of these numbers in the expenditure in the 24 column, I've got your health claims of 900,000. I'm not sure where that.
So that's
Is that
new.
part of the? Is that part of the?
Because what I've done is, we had 1.5 in the health insurance line, and so I just split that between premiums and claims.
So if we roughly have, let's just say 500,000 and a 10% increase over 2 years, and we just had the cash at the start and everything else stayed the same, we'd be at 500,000. But there's probably not going to stay the same on the other lines either. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to tell you.
Yeah.
Can the administration, like the self-insured, can they give you estimates? Are you doing it all yourself? Don't you have an administrator that helps you pay the claims? Or to administer?
We pay Blue Cross a fee, but they can't help us estimate the claims. We don't really have a way to do that because we don't know what they're gonna, So.
All you can do is plug in your cap.
Right, that's kind of what we're doing, so.
This is several years ago, but City of McPherson, they went to this, and one family had, the stop loss was 40,000, I think, at that time. And one family had insurance claims on a medicine for one of their children at 20,000 a month. So that kind of eats into your, and I'm not saying that, I mean, kid, that's good, but I'm just saying, but the stop loss, so what happened is the stop loss after 2 months, at 40, and the insurance kicked in to cover the additional. And that's why it's there. But I went, wow, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's been 20
And
years.
then, this is all new to us, so
Yeah.
it's a little,
Yeah.
it's uncharted.
Because some like they have, I don't know, I don't think it's Blue Cross Blue Shield, I think it's some guy that's what he does, he's an administrator over the funds, and he gives you numbers, not based on so much what's gonna happen, but just kind of the generic things that helps you. And maybe Blue Cross could do that, I don't know.
We know that guy.
Huh?
We probably know that guy.
I mean, maybe you do, I don't know. Okay, anything else?
It's pretty quiet.
It's
Is that assessed value, the assessed value is pretty accurate.
Yeah, we think that's gonna be it. It's not certified yet, but we think it's gonna be.
All right, thank you.
I learned something the other day, I'll just tell you this. Pratt City, they haven't had a finance director now for 2 years. AGH, which is a big firm in Wichita, is doing their monthly bank reconciliations and kind of giving them numbers. It seems like we're paying a lot for credit card fees for people that pay the utilities on, their every month.
Yeah.
They were paying
It is a lot.
16 to 19,000 a month. It's just their fees. They're trying to get people to switch to their bank account.
well,
No points.
that's the
So they got a new arrangement, I don't know, the card company, they had a meeting, cause that's a lot of money. They couldn't figure out why the contract services was up so much. Oh my goodness, yeah.
You ever bought anything on Purple Wave? You wonder why they put you a $3,000 limit on what you, for your deposit for your credit card? You gotta pay the rest with a check.
Well, I have sympathy with that. I mean, even when I pay my bills for the Lloyd Group, I try to write a check because, you know, you're a business owner and they're a business owner, like First and Business Solutions. I could have paid, you know, credit card the other day and it'd have been $700 times 3%, you know, probably. So it's always nice to pay by check.
Get your
What do you
cash
think about-
back,
Well,
get your cash back.
if you think about cash in the community, you take $100 and you keep spending it with credit card here, there, eventually it's all actually diminished. Credit card fees to all these different companies.
Absolutely.
Wherever you spend cash, it stays, it never devalues the actual start amount. Yeah, off topic, but
No, that's fine. It's-
They're paying by crypto.
So, do you have any feedback or instructions or?
Got some.
yeah, I wanna look at my wish list. Start cutting.
Gonna have to be that back.
Do you have a thought about where you want to try to be, or are we too soon in the process?
Well, revenue neutral obviously is a unrealistic goal. But to try to, especially with the fixed income people out there, and the property evaluations going up, where are they gonna come up
And
with the extra?
everything else they spend on going up.
I don't know where they're gonna come up with the extra funds. It's not like they can go mow a yard to balance the book. So we need to keep them in our heads. I don't know how we do it, but. Only the Lord knows.
Sure like the,
Got some of the
I
things.
think we need to try to, need to try to cut some.
Yeah, but I mean, if we put some of our stuff on hold to get through the balance, the constituents, and then put the wish list back on after this thing settles up a little bit.
Just depends if it settles up.
I know.
Well,
November is gonna be that story on that.
we haven't even talked about major road projects.
Well, that's an update I can give you. I drove a couple of your roads to get to one of these far out cities in Marion County. It's called the Tampa Road east of Tampa.
That's my commission district. But I can't get any money from this.
No, that's quite a,
Pay attention, don't you?
you gotta pay attention, yeah.
The only paved road that has gravel patches in the county. And it's a high travel road.
Got the biggest feedlot in the county by it too. A lot of trucks.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to, you know, I know there's a lot of discussion between north, south and all that, but it really does help you when you're having these conversations about which roads, you know, to drive them. So I've been driving several of them just because I'm going out to all these meetings.
But why did that little section fall apart worse than anybody? I mean, we
Well-
did a big job with that.
There's a whole mile over here in Canada that fell
Canada's-
apart.
yeah.
And I can tell you why. I drove by the other day. It's full of water.
Yeah.
It's full of water on the west side. It doesn't go anywhere.
So if we're gonna get services to constituents, you're gonna have to be, you can't just cut. I mean, we still gotta do projects. So there's gotta be a balance somewhere.
What is your sales tax rate here at the whole, for the county? What is it?
In the county is 7.5.
7.5, but
Yeah.
what is your share you get back? You
The
got,
city is 8.5 or different, well, I know Hillsboro's
The
8.5.
county has a 1%, but it's also, not all of that comes to the county. Some of that goes to some of the cities, I believe.
and that's how the road and bridge part gets generated.
Right.
Cause that's something that I thought was kind of interesting. They're adding a new position at Pratt City and they are kind of a hub for like tournaments and Miss Kansas, all these different activities. So they're adding a position, I don't know, $60,000 position. They got the the transient guest tax, which is something you've got a little bit of, I think it looks like.
Yeah, we don't have much left.
Kind of getting out of that.
There-
Cities are taking care of their own.
Yeah, so, I don't know, they generate about 500,000 in that, in the transient guest tax. And now what they're looking at, McPherson City has this, where they take 1% for a 10-year period, and it's on the Opera House area. You're familiar with the Opera House? Well, that's what it originally was set up for. And then before it sunset, they decided to go for vote again and put in that 1% over on roads. And so they have a 10-year comprehensive plan based on that 1%. Because Pratt, I forget, they're gonna do a little study, but I forget how many people come out. You know, they got the livestock yard there too. I mean, oh my goodness, I went there for a couple times with this one guy, and I can't believe how many different, counties show up for that, and states. It brings in a lot. So I don't know, I'm just looking, I'm just trying to figure out, in all these different counties, how you can generate, besides just getting ad valorem tax, how you can make people outside the county pay for that. And that's what Pratt's done a pretty good job of that with, they're just trying to increase the tournaments they have. Cause every tournament, I forget what the number they said, each family on a weekend spends. It's amazing.
Couple $100.
It's amazing amount. And then you multiply it times 60 teams, 10 on a team times 60 teams. That's a big number, So, I don't know, it's some way we're gonna have to get creative to keep things going.
Everybody knows it's time up.
Yep, it's a timer. All right, well, thank you, Scott.
Yeah. Anybody wanna ride with me?
Going back to Tampa?
Nope. I'm going to Elk City, Kansas.
Down there in Carroll, old stomping grounds.
Absolutely, 20 miles from Mom's. I don't know if I can, make a meal with Mom and still get to Elk City or not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why I'm going there, but good Lord does. They've got some problems. So gonna help them with the budget and audit, but there's maybe some other problems there. So starts with an F, and I'll stop there.
Good luck.
Mr. Penn?
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Tina, you did a great job.
If there's anything I missed, be sure and tell me later.
No. You did a great job.
All right.
Tina, did you have anything else?
No.
You had enough for today? Okay, comments, I think Commissioner Dahlke wanted to.
Yes, the internet grant that I went to for Burns that we approved down there, they're now called it up for the, for an interview, hearing.
Oh, for the next step?
For the next step, and Friday at 10 a.m. We're having a Zoom meeting Friday at 10 a.m. 2 or 3 of us will be witnessing and testifying for that. So if there's anything anybody'd like, I know Jonah's big on the internet, but if there's anything that anybody wants to say, well, get a hold of me that wants me to speak for the county, let me know, because they're gonna give me some
Meeting in
talking.
Burns, you mean?
It's a Zoom meeting.
Oh, a Zoom
I'll be
meeting.
right, you call in, but it's to the state board of internet, the people that run that, the way I understand it, for, just to hear witnesses on it, so anyway, yeah.
It's important to the whole county, not just that area.
Yeah, right,
It's
right,
by doing that project, it benefits all of us.
yeah, and we'd like to see.
And when it benefits Durham, that's coming hopefully soon.
Yeah, I think Tri-County is supposed to be done in Durham sometime in the next month.
Have you got that single line run out to your house yet?
That extension cord?
They sold my area to some outfit.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah. They said that they didn't really sell it.
No.
It sounded like, I don't know which department of the government, they broke out different areas, and now Tri-County can't go a foot past the city boundaries of Durham West.
Okay, that meeting that I told you to come to at Peabody, Jonah, that meeting, the state ladies was there and had our state draw it out, and there's a whole bunch of groups that at some time has spoke for areas.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
Absolutely. Somebody
They'll never do it.
actually owns that area.
It's turning into the same way.
But the way I understood it, they have like 10 years to supply the fiber.
Yeah.
Well, you know good and well what they're gonna do. They're gonna sit on that money or whatever for 9 years. You know, it's.
That's another thing I've noticed and yours is a great example, like Pratt's counties, I think they're 1.7 million they generate from the windmills. But all these that generate this money, if there's no, I don't know how that works, once it pays off in 10 years, is there no other revenue that comes in off of those?
Goes on the tax roll, becomes
It goes
part
on
of
the top property roll.
See, like
And
the
it goes on as a
pipeline went-
commercial.
Yeah, pipeline, yeah.
It's called government intrusion. Something that our founding fathers wanted nothing to do with.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, that's probably, I shouldn't be doing budgets in 10 years, but anyway, that's just something, you look at these revenue sources and how they're gonna change, cause those are big numbers. But maybe the assessed value, but then that goes back to the taxpayer then. Yeah, so.
All right, any other commission comments?
Groundbreaking ceremony. We're doing that next,
On the 17th at 10 a.m.
any,
Remind me. I strolled in here because it was quite the morning already, so.
Any other commission comments? If not, I move to adjourn. Second by Commissioner Gearing, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0. We are adjourned.
every Thursday.